Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Peter here, and it's time for the PDG Advertising Podcast, episode 57. And today is the 2nd of September 2019. And for all our American and Canadian listeners, it is Labor Day. So I hope you're having a nice time. I don't know what people do on Labor Day. I know that you're off work because my email inbox hasn't been bombarded today by people either trying to sell me stuff or our lovely American customers wanting things done. So you obviously aren't doing much work, but that's fair enough. And then in South Africa as well, customers over there too, and they're off on holiday as well today, which is pretty cool. Found out that I think people go to, well, if you can, I guess, on what we call a bank holiday here. I'm sure it's called a bank holiday all over the world, but people in South Africa who aren't in Cape Town go to Cape Town if you can, I guess. I mean, I don't know if I'd be one of the people that's jetting off to Cape Town. If I was in South Africa, I'm sure I wouldn't be. But it just so happens that our customers have flown out to Cape Town, which is really cool to know. And so today is not a bank holiday in the UK. Today is like the kind of start of the year, if anything. It's a hard one to describe because today is the first Monday of September, so everybody's back to school. There's a definite sense in the office and everywhere really in the UK, I think, and Ireland, that this is game time and it's time in the run up to Christmas and Halloween and all that good stuff. And goodness, the year just kind of rolls past you at times. It's probably why it's really great that we're doing the PDG Advertising Podcast here, because gives me a chance anyway to stop and slow down and have a think about what we're doing and go through some of the awesome things that we have been up to. So if you've been following us, we have introduced a new team member. So we've had Anthony for quite a while now, and he's doing great. And we've introduced a new team member, Nicole, into PDG Advertising, and we're just starting to really get into a good groove with how we're working together. Well, I'm providing direction on where we're going, but we're making a lot of decisions together and learning how we're working together and seeing who's good at what and how we can go forward. And it's resulted in us creating some pretty cool proposals to go out to prospective customers, and also some pretty cool adverts that we've created and some cool copy that we've created for our adverts as well. So I guess one of the most important things in PDG advertising is just keeping in mind three things, and it's customer growth, brand awareness, and quality of service. And I don't think in an advertising agency, if you use those three things to make decisions, that you can go far wrong. But for anybody that's been following from PDG Advertising Podcast episode 1, I don't think anybody had started at that point. I'm pretty sure that Anthony was just starting off or hadn't started yet. And I brought on Anthony, and before that it was just me. And we've moved offices since that, and now we've taken on a new person and we've taken on more customers, and it's just feels like a good place to be and a good place to work from. Look, we've got a long way to go, and we're nowhere near perfect just yet. We're very rough and ready, but I think it's kind of funny because I think these are likely the good times. I think there are times coming in the future that are going to be quite tough, and there are going to be things that get in our way and things that cause problems. But right now, when we're small, when we can work on things and we can really get into things, it's how the business is formed, I guess, and it's just a very interesting, very exciting time. So I thought moving forward that with the PDG Advertising Podcast that I would try to put a little bit of structure into the format of the podcast. So I think maybe the first little while is probably going through a couple of things that are going on in the PDG advertising universe and any big updates or any big things that are going on. And then after that, I think it's important to share some industry news or share what's going on, what's important in digital advertising. And that's what we're going to do today in a little bit. We're going to talk about automation in digital advertising. It's a huge topic and it's something that's very important. And it's something that kind of sneaked in to online advertising, and it's really cool. It makes it easier to do online advertising, but you got to be aware of it in order to do it to the best of your ability or to the best of anybody's ability. And that's something that we'll talk about. But there'll be other topics that will come up, like little pieces about maybe people in the industry, maybe platform-specific things. Maybe, one episode is devoted to MailChimp, one episode is devoted to Twitter, Facebook ads, anything like that. But today we've talked a little bit about, what's going on in PDG, and then now we'll talk a little bit about automation. And one of the reasons that we're going through automation today is I think I was trying to search for something that would add value to the audience and to you who's listening to this. And if you want to add value to your business, or if you want to be a better marketer, then some of the things that we're going to go through on this podcast over time should really, really help you, because it's taken me a long time to learn them, and we're not necessarily mastering them, but we know that they're working right now. And I think that that's pretty valuable. I don't know about you, but I don't learn really, really well with people teaching me things. I learn by hearing what other people are doing and by trying it out myself. So I wonder if this will be helpful for you in your business, and it'd be really cool if you tried out some of the methods that we're talking about here, or you could tell us a different way of doing it that's even better. We'd definitely love that too. So how this came about was I wanted to give a little bit back, and I wanted to show off what we're doing for some customers, some things that are working. And that's brought me to talking about automation. So today I've created a blog post about automation as well. I'm going to go through some of the points in it here. But the thing is, it's pretty fluid, and it's not, there's a million ways that I could talk about automation. I'm just trying to pick out the most practical aspects of automation in digital advertising. And I've created a blog post on it. Our proofreader's just proving it right now. It'll probably be up live just after the podcast episode 57, 58 is out. And we will, excuse me, there you go, hiccup on the podcast. Incredible. So yeah, episode 57. So the blog will probably be out just after that. But anyway, let's get down to it. So digital advertising automation. Yeah, I mean, as an agency, we deliver adverts across 12 clients, to 4 continents, to over 500,000 people a week. And whenever you do advertising at that scale, you end up picking up what's working and what isn't working. And that's kind of by default, but just by being over that amount of adverts that you're sending out, you just learn things, I guess. If you liken it to, if you're a welder, if you're welding 100 different things to different metal pieces every day, you get pretty good at it. I think there's something about there being, you need 10,000 hours at anything before you end up being good. And I mean, there's no way that we haven't put in 10,000 hours yet to PDG advertising. So many more hours than that. But the other reason is just because we love digital advertising and love adapting what we do to a very shifting, movable landscape. And one of the biggest trends that I'm seeing right now is automation. And I'm not sure if it's the biggest trend or the coolest trend, but it's one that's certainly impacting what I do on a daily basis. And I mean, basically, automation is a process that is undertaken by a machine, a computer, rather than a human. So a good example, one that I always love, is an automatic door. So a door that whenever you walk up to it, it senses you walking up to it and it opens automatically and you can walk through. There's so many advantages to that. One is you can walk through the door without touching it. You're not going to catch any diseases or germs from the handle. I know that's pretty unlikely, but you get my point. You don't have to take that effort to open the door. It's just opening automatically for you. The person that's owns the door doesn't have to clean the door as much, assumedly, and it's a smoother, more frictionless experience to walk through the door if it's opening automatically. Now, let's use that same example. With that door opening, things go wrong. There's nothing more frustrating than whenever you walk up to an automatic door and it doesn't open, fast enough for you, and you have to stand waiting on it, and you don't really know what's going on, and the door could even stop there, and it might not even work. So that's a problem as well. And that kind of automation is, those kind of problems with automation aren't unique to automatic doors opening. They happen in what we're about to talk about now. And what we are about to talk about now is automation in digital advertising. And automation in digital advertising is very, very sophisticated, very futuristic, and I can't wait to tell you about what's going on. So let me take a step back. So before, whenever you were doing advertising on Facebook, now look, there's a bit of haze in here. If you know anything about Facebook adverts, you'll know that what I'm about to talk about has been around for a long time. There is something happened in September that means that it's becoming much, much more prevalent. But let's take a step back first. Before, we had objective-based adverts. So before we could use a conversion objective on Facebook ads, we had to rely on traffic driving ads and on reach adverts. So adverts that, let's give you an example of if you put an advert in front of 1 million people in a certain interest group on Facebook. So look, the example is if you're a driving instructor and you're in a pretty big area and you want to get in front of all of the parents of 17-year-olds in the area, and you want to get in front of them in order for them to see your advertising and click on it and go through to your website and to make a booking on your website, you would have to advertise to basically all of the 17-year-olds in the area. And you would do that through a traffic advert or a reach advert. So you would basically be just trying to put in front of as many people as possible. Reach adverts would just try to get in front of as many people. Traffic adverts would try to get in front of the people that would click. And that was automation in itself, but a less sophisticated form of what exists now. And imagine if you had £100 to spend and you were just spending on who could click. Out of maybe, if there were 10,000 people in the audience, then your traffic advert would go out to as many of those 10,000 people as possible, irrespective of whether they were likely to actually purchase. Now what Facebook knows, and now the objective adverts are that you can pick an objective that says, Facebook, put my advert in front of those people that are likely to actually purchase or likely to make a booking. And to me, that's pretty incredible. So that automation, that knowledge in the database, based on people's actions, based on people's activities, is pretty incredible. And it honestly makes digital advertising easier. It should make it like shooting fish in a barrel. Now, don't get me wrong, remember the door analogy? it can go wrong. It's not something that the automatic door can break, or you can bid too highly and waste your money, or you can bid too low and then your adverts don't run. But all in all, on balance, it's a pretty good way to go about putting adverts in front of people from a digital marketing point of view. I don't even think the people that are getting the adverts lose out. I think everybody wins there. You're only showing the people that are actually in need of what you have. I've got to say, the driving instructor example is always I always love that one, because if you don't like advertising, you don't like online adverts, then it's possible that you think they're all evil. But what could possibly be evil about having a good offer as a driving school and putting it out there through Facebook ads, getting it to the right people clicking on it, and then getting a driving lesson, maybe even at a discount? I don't see what could be wrong with that. So it's not only that Facebook can pick out who are the most likely to take up your offer or buy your product or put in their email address into your website. It's not just that. You can actually create your own automation within Facebook. So if you have £100 to spend and you specify that you only want to pay £10 for someone to purchase your product, let's say your product costs £100 and your profit margin is something like £50, then you're actually probably going to be okay with paying a lot more than £10 for a purchase. And if you want to work at scale, then if you want to do it that way, then you can put in a rule that says, if I get a purchase for £10, for less than £10, then increase the budget, spend more, and keep doing that until my threshold, until the predetermined threshold that I set runs out. So you can create your own automation using these conversion advert objectives. It's so cool, and it's really revolutionary. And I don't hear it being talked about massively in advertising circles. I don't hear it being talked about in news, in advertising outlets in Belfast. I definitely don't. Not even sure I hear it in London, or maybe my ear isn't just to the ground. But that's something I'll be looking for in the future. So there's another place that automation is really intriguing us and interesting us and proving some results. It's in Google Shopping. So whenever you do a search for a product that you want, nowadays on Google, before you even get to a website, there are shopping adverts that show these products up for you. And there's a bidding war going on in the background for those. But there's a little bit of automation in what's called a Google Smart Shopping campaign, where Google can present your shopping feed, your products, to people that are most likely to purchase them across the internet. There's a downside to it. You can't really manipulate these adverts as well as you can with a normal shopping campaign. But we've seen results. The thing is, we don't feel that you can scale the results, and we feel that there's likely some spillage in there. But if you're just starting out and you just want to make a few sales or a few conversions, then smart shopping campaigns is definitely something to look into. And all of it is based on automation, and it's all based on an artificial intelligence on Google's side. And goodness knows they're the masters of it at the moment. Well, I don't know if they're the masters of it, but to me, they're the masters of it. Out of my spectrum of people that I know, they do it pretty well. I mean, look at the way that whenever you type in something in Google, Google finishes the sentence for you without you ever having typed it in before. And that's why I was saying before that these things are kind of sneaky, the way that they're coming in, the way that these innovations, these things that make it a little bit easier. It's always a little bit easier. But if I look now at the advert sophistication between now and whenever we started advertising on Facebook and Google, there's a chasm. There's an absolutely huge level of, I mean, there was literally 2 placements on Facebook. There wasn't even, I don't even think there was adverts allowed on Instagram. At least there were special people that were allowed on Instagram. And then every couple of months, something creeps in. Every couple of months, something else gets added to the Facebook landscape. Every couple of months, there's another objective advert. There's another objective conversion objective added, or every little while there's a change to the interface, or business manager comes along for Facebook. It's just little subtle changes over time, and whenever you look at them like over a year, or if you look at them week on week, nothing much changes. But if you look back 6 months or you look back a year, there are huge leaps and there are huge changes, and the direction of travel seems to be more automation, ease of use, make it easier for the advertisers, get them to their customers quicker and easier, and I think that's kind of cool. I wonder, does that mean that Facebook is made for the advertisers or made for the users? Facebook have always said it's made for the users, but you gotta wonder, because of all the little changes that keep on happening. It's obvious that there are some serious eyes on Facebook Ads Manager. Why wouldn't there be? It's a massive moneymaker for them. So I mean, what's going to happen in the future? I think the Facebook example is pretty incredible, because like, what is the next step from Facebook looking at 1 million people and saying that person's likely to buy, that person's likely to buy? Is it where they know? Is it where products come to your house in advance of you actually purchasing them, because you being happy with that because you knew that you would have ordered it at some point? Is that already happening with these Tide Pod things and Amazon subscriptions, or is there some leap that needs to happen there? If I had to predict something, it would be something innovative that brings us another step in terms of not having to do anything to buy stuff. That would be my prediction. I don't know what that is, but if you look at the way that advertising has gone and the friction that's being taken out of having to make decisions, I think that's where we are headed. But who knows? Let's see in a year. So everyone, that was quite an intense session of the PDG Advertising Podcast, episode 57. Look, I really appreciate all of our new listeners. Subscribe, and I'd love you to subscribe, and I'd love you to make comments and let us know what you think, or let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about on this. Got big plans for the podcast in the next coming days and weeks, so I'm really looking forward to creating new episodes for you, and I look forward to tomorrow's episode. So have a great night, whatever you're doing on, or day, whatever you're doing on Labour Day, wherever you are, and here's to a great September for everyone, and I will speak to you soon.